It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
Our alliance with Orlais holds. For the present. They'll send aid on request.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus' followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
Perhaps they'll rethink following the Darkspawn Magister from the dawn of time. Where is Corypheus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
They've terrorized Thedas long enough. We end them now. If Corypheus is hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we'll go.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corypheus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. This is an Illuvian, an elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corypheus seeks.
It's beautiful, in its way.
I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds. Untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corypheus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Illuvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead? If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
A useful trick.
For one who knows the way, certainly. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I had a safe place to raise my son. But only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Illuvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key.
The key can be many things. Each Illuvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
Corypheus wants to come here.
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Illuvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon.
I expected the hero Ferelden to be at Adamant, but she was not with the other wardens. She studied the Blight after killing the Archdemon, and may know something that could help us. If you like, I can have agents look for her.
That sounds like a wise choice.
I'll make preparations in the war room. Now, was there anything else?
I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe.
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up close, what are your impressions?
'Tis remarkable what you have built. I will give you that. Soldiers are camped outside Skyhold in numbers that would give any nation pause. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
We have to defeat him first. Then I'll worry about what's next.
Should that happen, the world will lie at your feet, more or less. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah yes, whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kukari Wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
Tell me more about your son.
He is a very special young man.
Special in what way?
In every way. At first, Kieran was a means to an end. But as he grew, I never thought of myself as a mother, Inquisitor. I had no good example to follow. I find myself becoming something I can barely recognize.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight.
The Blight began in the Kukari Wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated. I wish things had gone differently in the end. It had to be, yet. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
I'll leave you to the garden.
As you like.
My dear, did you need me for something?
Your lost books have been found.
My dear, you are a treasure.
With an Illuvion, Corypheus could cross into the Fade in the flesh.
Indeed, the Inquisitor can attest that these artifacts still work, if one knows how to use them.
What happens when Corypheus enters the Fade?
Why, he will gain his heart's desire and take the power of a god. Or, and this is more likely, the lunatic will unleash forces that tear the world apart.
I won't allow it. I can't.
Indeed, should Corypheus succeed, do not doubt you would be first to feel his holy wrath.
Pardon me, but does this mean everything's lost unless we get to the Illuvion before him?
Corypheus has a head start, no matter how quickly our army moves.
We should gather our allies before we march.
Can we wait for them? We should send our spies ahead to the Arbor Wilds.
Without support from the soldiers, you'd lose half of them.
Then what should we do?
You overcome it. All three of you together. Josephine, have our allies send scouts to meet us in the wilds. Leliana, your fastest agents will join them. Together, we'll have enough spies to slow down Corypheus's army until Cullen's soldiers arrive.
Such confidence. But the Arbor Wilds are not so kind to visitors. Old elven magic lingers in those woods.
We'd be remiss to not take advantage of your knowledge, Lady Morgan. Please, lend us your expertise.
'Tis why I came here, although it is good to see its value recognized.
Any further instructions, Inquisitor?
The Inquisition began as a handful of soldiers. Thanks to you, we're now a force that will topple a self-proclaimed god. I could ask for no finer counsel, no better guidance.
I speak for all of us when I answer. We could ask for no finer cause.
We'll hound Corypheus in the wilds before he can find the temple or this Illuvion.
Inquisitor,
How goes the battle, Captain?
the Red Templars fall beneath our blades, your worship. Commander Cullen says they're nearly finished. Our scouts saw Corypheus traveling towards an elven ruin to the north. We can clear you a path through his armies.
Do only what you must. We need enough people for a celebration when we get back to Skyhold.
We will not fail you, my lady, no matter what comes. Andraste guide you, Inquisitor.
I wonder, is it Andraste your soldiers invoke during battle, or does a more immediate name come to their lips?
They show me respect, Morrigan. No one mistakes me for the Maker.
True. You are far more likely to come to their aid than a chantry fable. But I digress. If your scouts report accurately, I believe these ruins to be the Temple of Mathal.
Which is?
A place of worship out of elven legend. If Corypheus seeks it, then the alluvion he covets lies within. Let us hope we reach this temple before the entire forest is reduced to ash.
We are aware of the designs Corypheus has on our lives and people, Ambassador. You must excuse us, however, if our mind wanders to our beloved kingdom. I pray our lay fares well in your absence. It is our return to court that concerns us. Our dear cousin Gaspard warns it might align with poor weather. It's ambitious to predict so far into the future. I'm confident your majesty can weather any storm. We will see how this battle proceeds. Corypheus yet threatens to engulf us. We are gladdened to see you, Herald. This day will be recalled for ages. We are privileged to witness the fulfillment of the Inquisition's purpose.
The sight of our Orlesian allies risking their lives here humbles me.
Your worthy cause would have friends, even if we did not will it. Men and women of faith serve you. Their favor is no less than our own, their service no less dear. With Orlais at your side, we will see you victorious against Corypheus. May you walk in the light. Inquisitor, I hear this Illuvian lies in a temple nearby. That's where the fighting will be worst. Andraste keep you safe.
Our soldiers have courage. The Inquisition will make it through.
Then I will be as the other faithful and wait. Good luck.
Now that's a view. Get your blood going.
One last push and we can lick our wounds. I wonder if Corypheus will show.
I hope you're right about this temple, Morrigan. I could use a building or two.
Do the woods discomfort you, Pavos?
It's mostly the people trying to cut our heads off that manage that.
As the sun renews itself, so must the faithful renew their love of the Maker. Your penance shall be a joy, serving him with a heart of love unbound. Your struggle shall be a gift, for it redeems you in his sight.
Maker, let me be a worthy servant, that you might take me unto your side.
My thanks, your worship. Andraste must hear you. I was a pilgrim at Haven. I saw the wreckage, and how you emerged to lead us. If the Maker bids me serve you, it will be done.
Those were Grey Wardens. They must be the last of those enslaved at Adamant.
That or you got another set of wardens pissed at you somehow.
Were we just attacked by elves?
Uh-huh. But they don't look like any elves I've ever seen.
Perhaps these creatures are the reason few return from the Arbor Wilds.
Any chance Corypheus will finally grace us with his presence?
I'd count on it. Be ready.
I hear fighting ahead.
Namelana Sabanale.
The wretch mocks you, Master.
These are but remnants. They will not keep us from the Well of Sorrows.
Well of Sorrows.
Be honored. witness death at the hands of a new god.
Cannot be!
Across the bridge, now!
At last, Mathal's sanctum. Let us proceed before Corypheus interferes.
If he's here for a mirror, why'd Corypheus say he wants a well of sorrows?
I am uncertain of what he referred to.
Could they be the same? Could Illuvian translate into Well of Sorrows?
No. It seems an Illuvian is not the prize Corypheus seeks. Yes, I was wrong. Does that please you? Whatever the Well of Sorrows might be, Corypheus seeks it, and thus you must keep it from his grasp.
Let's find this well before Corypheus's people do. I want to know how Corypheus returned to life. We saw him die.
And his life force passes on to any blighted creature, Darkspawn, or Grey Warden.
So that's how the bastard survived, Hawk.
We'll find a way to stop Corypheus once we're done here.
'Tis strange. Archdemons possess the same ability, and still the Grey Wardens are able to slay them. Yet Corypheus, they locked away. Perhaps they knew he could do this, but not how. It appears the temple's magics are still strong.
Is this Elven? Does it say anything about this Well of Sorrows?
I only recognize a few phrases. Ah, a Belisan, meaning place of sorrow. That must be the well. There is something about knowledge, respectful or pure. Shivenen. 'Tis all I can translate. That it mentions the well is a good omen.
At least we know the Well of Sorrows was important.
Supplicants to Mathal would have first paid obeisance here. Following their path may aid entry.
Not much of a lock if all you do is step on it.
'Tis a ritual, not a barred door. There is more here than earthly treasure. I see the Venatori have already encountered the temple's guardians.
You know what? These elves are starting to scare me.
The mages trespassed on their sacred ground.
So are we. I'm just saying.
Why would this be here?
Something wrong?
It depicts the Dread Wolf, Fen-Harel. In elven tales, he tricks their gods into sealing themselves away in the beyond for all time. Setting Fen-Harel in Mathal's greatest sanctum is as blasphemous as painting Andraste naked in the chantry.
Some chantries display statues of Andraste's betrayer Mafrath as part of the chant.
It might fulfill a similar function. A reminder of vigilance for the faithful. Still, so long as the wolf's jaws cannot close around us, we may pass safely on. Yes?
Are you certain Corypheus is using the power of the Blight to make himself immortal?
Perhaps you forget. I was in Ferelden during the Fifth Blight. I have seen a true archdemon rage. How Corypheus gained the power to send his soul into blighted bodies, that is the real question.
Will answering that question let us destroy Corypheus for good?
Perhaps. I would suggest first dealing with the well. If Corypheus obtains it, any chance of success could be lost.
Do you know what this part of the temple was used for?
The room we stand in is a vestibule, not the temple proper. To those who knew it, perhaps this ritual was little more than a polite knock at the gate. These customs must have been as familiar to ancient elves as bowing to a queen is to you or I.
I find it difficult to picture you curtsying to anyone.
If we become so familiar, you can predict my manners and customs now. Nothing is lost by indulging in the occasional civilized conduct, particularly when unexpected.
You said this Mythal was worshipped as a goddess.
So one assumes. What is a god but a being of immense power? The dread old gods were nothing more than dragons, after all. They rise as archdemons, and they die. Perhaps Mythal was a powerful elf, a ruler among her kind. History often plays storyteller with facts. Truthfully, I'm uncertain Mythal was even a single entity. The accounts are varied.
There are varied accounts of Mythal.
In most stories, Mythal rights wrongs while exercising motherly kindness. Let fly your voice to Mythal, deliverer of justice, protector of sun and earth alike. Other paint her as dark, vengeful. Pray to Mythal and she would smite your enemies, leaving them in agony. Whatever the truth, all accounts of Mythal end the same. Exiled to the beyond with her brethren.
What do you mean, exiled?
Tricked by the dread wolf, as all the elven gods were said to be, trapped in a land beyond the Fade. Many Dalish believe this is why the elves fell from grace, and their gods did not save them. Or perhaps they were simply rulers slain by Tevinter. Who can say?
You've seen the elves here. They seem odd.
Indeed. Two things are possible. One, this is a group of Dalish separated from their brethren, cultists, fanatic in their desire to keep humans away. Two, these are elves descended from the ancients, having resided here since before the fall of Alathan. The second appears unlikely, but if true, the implications are astounding.
If they keep records, it could change everything we thought we knew about history.
It is thrilling, no? To discover an era thought lost forever has possibly thrived in the shadows. We may, however, find these elves reluctant to part with their long-kept secrets. The Temple of Mythal, constructed in an age when elves, not men, dominated this land.
Before the Imperium destroyed it.
They believed Mythal a goddess of justice. Elves came here to request judgment, after they proved their worth.
Don't let them pass!
Come on, we might catch them.
Hold a moment. While they rush ahead, this leads to our true destination. We should walk the petitioner's path as before.
You forget that army fighting for us out there? Longer we play around, the more Inquisition soldiers die. There's a hole. Jump in.
Just a thought. Maybe rushing through this place like a mad bull isn't the best plan.
You see the urgency? We cannot find the Well of Sorrows unprepared.
We don't know what's behind those doors. They might have a reason for going another way.
Had they the option, they would have proceeded. That must lead to their goal.
Their goal? Or yours?
There is a danger to the natural order. Legends warped Thedas once, things of might and wonder. Their passing has left us all the lesser. Corypheus would squander the ancient power of the well. I would have it restored.
I wasn't expecting your answer to be so romantic.
Trust me, your surprise is matched only by my own. Mankind blunders through the world, crushing what it does not understand. Elves, dragons, magic. The list is endless. We must stem the tide, or be left with nothing more than the mundane. This I know to be true. I read more in the first chamber than I revealed. It said a great boon is given to those who use the Well of Sorrows, but at a terrible price.
What exactly did that altar say about the Well of Sorrows?
Like most elven writing, it was insufferably vague. The term I deciphered was Halam Shivanas, the sweet sacrifice of duty. It implies the loss of something personal for duty's sake, yet for those who served at this temple, a worthwhile trade.
Did you not trust me enough to tell me about this price when you read it?
I hoped to find more information. If I intended to cheat you, I would have feigned ignorance entirely. My priority is your cause, but if the opportunity arises to save this well, I am willing to pay the cost.
And gain what?
That is what we must discover. The rituals may point the way.
What's this?
I believe we are in the presence of the elven goddess Ondrul, Lady of the Hunt. 'Tis said the Dalish invoke her before a chase, especially if they happen to be stalking humans.
Humans clash with elves all the time. There's blood on both sides.
I do not favor either. One hears things in an Orlesian court. Many Orlesian commanders consider skirmishes against the Dalish excellent sport. Yes.
Do you know what this part of the temple was used for?
It may have served as a chamber of reflection, perhaps to contemplate the righteousness of one's cause. More importantly, I suspect none were permitted beyond this area without a priest. Ancient texts claim Mythal passed judgment in the flesh, but 'twas surely the priests who proclaimed rulings here.
Why did the ancient elves insist on so many rites?
We may safely assume one did not petition high priests for Mythal's justice by strolling up and knocking. I see no more insufferable ceremony here than in a chantry.
More rituals? What are they for, do you know?
I believe they signify an intent to lay oneself bare, to champion a cause without pity, regret, or shame. Mythal's cult was not fond of vacillation. One approached them with nothing less than complete confidence.
What happened to those who were less sure of themselves?
Legend does not say. Perhaps this place has a more gruesome history than we know.
You've seen the elves here. They seem odd.
Indeed. Two things are possible. One, this is a group of Dalish separated from their brethren, cultists, fanatic in their desire to keep humans away. Two, these are elves descended from the ancients, having resided here since before the fall of Arlathan. The second appears unlikely, but if true, the implications are astounding.
If they keep records, it could change everything we thought we knew about history.
'Tis thrilling, no? To discover discover an era thought lost forever has possibly thrived in the shadows. We may, however, find these elves reluctant to part with their long-kept secrets.
I want to discuss the well again.
Oh, I see. An opportunity to use the well may not even arise. I understand this. All I meant to suggest is that, if it does, I be the one to do so. I am willing to accept the consequences.
What if something happens to you? What about your son?
Kieran is a strong lad. He will thrive, with or without me.
Are you sure of that?
I am sure of precious little these days.
Who is this meant to be?
Fallon Dean, overseer of funerals and guide to the elven dead. I have heard the Dalish invoke him on their deathbed, or before quests from which they expect no return.
People cling to whatever gives them hope when their time comes.
Perhaps that's why the Dalish sometimes refer to Fallon Dean as the Merciful One. Yes?
You've seen the elves here. They seem odd.
Indeed. Two things are possible. One, this is a group of Dalish separated from their brethren, cultists, fanatic in their desire to keep humans away. Two, these are elves descended from the ancients, having resided here since before the fall of Arlathan. The second appears unlikely, but if true, the implications are astounding.
If they keep records, it could change everything we thought we knew about history.
Tis thrilling, no? To discover an era thought lost forever has possibly thrived in the shadows. We may, however, find these elves reluctant to part with their long-kept secrets.
Do you know what this part of the temple was used for?
It may have served as a chamber of reflection, perhaps to contemplate the righteousness of one's cause. More importantly, I suspect none were permitted beyond this area without a priest. Ancient texts claim Mythal passed judgment in the flesh, but 'twas surely the priests who proclaimed rulings here.
Why did the ancient elves insist on so many rites?
We may safely assume one did not petition high priests for Mythal's justice by strolling up and knocking. I see no more insufferable ceremony here than in a chantry.
More rituals? What are they for, do you know?
I believe they signify an intent to lay oneself bare, to champion a cause without pity, regret, or shame. Mythal's cult was not fond of vacillation. One approached them with nothing less than complete confidence.
What happened to those who were less sure of themselves?
Legend does not say. Perhaps this place has a more gruesome history than we know.
I want to discuss the well again.
Oh, I see. An opportunity to use the well may not even arise. I understand this. All I meant to suggest is that, if it does, I be the one to do so. I am willing to accept the consequences.
You would pay the price for this, and you don't even know yet what it does.
We know Corypheus seeks the well and believes it valuable. We also know it to be guarded jealously, the last remnant of a culture thought dead and gone. So yes, I would take my chances, if you permit it.
You said you want to preserve old powers. To what end? What will you do with them?
There is a struggle to control the world's future path. Can you not see it? History haunts us, Inquisitor. It seeks to resurface. Corypheus is but the first to arise. For all the evil that was, there is also good. I will fight for it. I must.
How do you know the Well of Sorrows isn't a source of evil? After all, Corypheus seeks it.
A fair point. We cannot know for certain. Yet.
I don't want you to be so eager for this unknown power you ignore its dangers, Morrigan.
I'm not a child grasping after a toy. I understand the risk of what I seek. Let us turn our attention to hunting your enemies, shall we? Discussion of the well can wait. Tis not what I expected. What was this chamber used for?
We're being watched.
Venavis. You are unlike the other invaders. You bear the mark of magic, which is familiar. How has this come to pass? What is your connection to those who first disturbed our slumber?
They are my enemies, as well as yours.
I am called Abelas. We are sentinels, tasked with standing against those who trespass on sacred ground. We wake only to fight, to preserve this place. Our numbers diminish with each invasion. I know what you seek. Like all who have come before you, you wish to drink from the Vira Belasan.
The place of the Way of Sorrows. He speaks of the well.
It is not for you. It is not for any of you.
What is this Vira Balasan exactly?
It is a path. One walked only by those who toiled in Mithal's favor.
He speaks of priests, perhaps.
More than that, you need not know.
So, you're elves from ancient times, before the Tevinter Imperium destroyed Arlathan.
The Shemlin did not destroy Arlathan. We Elven warred upon ourselves. By the time the doors to this sanctuary closed, our time was over.
Wait, that's not right. What are you saying?
You would not know truth. Shemlin history is as short as the pool of your years.
What did the Imperium do then? Are you saying it wasn't a war?
The war of carrion feasting upon a corpse, yes. We awaken only when called, and each time find the world more foreign than before. It is meaningless. We endure. The Vira Belasan must be preserved.
We did not come here to fight you, nor to steal from your temple.
I believe you. Trespassers you are, but you have followed rites of petition. You have shown respect to Mithal. If these others are enemies of yours, we will aid you in destroying them. When this is done, you shall be permitted to depart. And never return.
I'll admit the idea of fighting the last of their kind does not thrill me.
Consider carefully. You must stop Corypheus, yes, but you may also need the well for your own.
I accept your offer.
You will be guided to those you seek. As for the Vira Belasan, it shall not be despoiled, even if I must destroy it myself.
No!
Morgan!
He said the elves destroyed themselves before my countrymen came along. Could that be true? I can hardly believe it.
They left someone behind. A handy guide, maybe?
Mytholanast.
That's helpful, since Morrigan chased off on her own. This place looks untouched.
You have any idea how much this place is worth?
Don't let Solus hear you say that.
Admit it. You were wondering.
Penshra! Gilas Velathan!
I think she wants us to go back.
Just a quick look around. The Sentinels are holding against the Venatori.
Count your blessings we're not still fighting both at the same time.
The Well of Sorrows.
That's... something.
How has such magic lasted?
I want them dead before the Master arrives!
Kaltora Virethan!
I will swim if I must. The well demands a vessel.
So close.
The well knows its vessel, and those who would despoil it. Stand aside, Inquisitor. The trials you set me, I have overcome. As a courtesy, leave now. Or not at all.
No, Calpurnia. We have things to discuss.
True. I did not think you so civilized. You serve your people. You have one last chance to save them. The Well of Sorrows overflows with knowledge. Power abandoned by those the elves worshipped as gods. To walk the Fade without the anchor. That is what the Well of Sorrows will give Corypheus.
Why would Corypheus think entering the Fade will work any better than last time?
Speech without understanding. I knew you would take the well for yourself, to ransack its wisdom to try to defeat Corypheus. But you'd still be just a child, playing with a sword. Corypheus will wield it as a master.
Once you've drunk from the well, Corypheus will use a ritual on you. You'll be a mindless tool, enslaved to his will.
Where I come from, idle tales must be proven.
Here, the page with his binding ritual. You tried it on your master, Erasthenes.
How could you know? And these runes, no one has written in these since... He made so many promises, and everyone a lie! Then he his cavern vast! He was to give Tevinter a true leader. If Corypheus would misuse me, he'd misuse them too. I was blind.
That's why you joined Corypheus, to see Tevinter rebuilt.
To see her reborn. Slaves allowed their true potential, corruption excised. Tevinter was the cradle of civilization. Imagine what her future could be. A crafter of wonders, standing against the savage Kunari. A beacon for all.
Perhaps Tevinter does need a strong leader. Be that woman while you can.
You mock me, Inquisitor, as if you'd let me walk away.
It's a good idea. Maker knows we could use a reformer or 10 back home.
If Corypheus triumphs. Listen, if any power can challenge him, it lies in the well. Perhaps its price is too high, but if you can take it, humble him. Vitae benefaria, Inquisitor. Do not follow us. I will give you some time. I go to confront my master. Then I will return to Tevinter. If there is anything left of me.
You heard his parting words, Inquisitor. The elf seeks to destroy the Well of Sorrows.
So the sanctum is despoiled at last.
You would have destroyed the well yourself, given the chance.
To keep it from your grasping fingers. Better it be lost than bestowed upon the undeserving.
Fool. You'd let your people's legacy rot in the shadows.
Corypheus needed Calpurnia to use the well. Without her, there's no vessel to claim it.
The moment we leave, he will send more forces to secure this place. The well clearly offers power, Inquisitor. If that power can be turned against Corypheus, can you afford not to use it?
Do you even know what you ask? As each servant of Mythal reached the end of their years, they would pass their knowledge on through this. All that we were, all that we knew, it would be lost forever.
This can't be easy, holding on to what's left.
You cannot imagine. Each time we awaken, it slips further from our grasp.
Why remain? Why perform a duty without purpose?
You have shown respect to Mythal, and there is a righteousness in you I cannot deny. Is that your desire? To partake of the Vira Belasan as best you can. To fight your enemy.
Not without your permission.
One does not obtain permission. One obtains the right. The Vira Belasan may be too much for a mortal to comprehend. Brave it if you must. But know you this. You shall be bound forever to the will of Mythal.
Bound to a goddess who no longer exists, if she ever did.
Bound as we are bound. The choice is yours.
Is it possible this Mythal might still exist?
Anything is possible.
Elven legend states that Mythal was tricked by Fen-Harel and banished to the Beyond.
Elven legend is wrong. The Dread Wolf had nothing to do with her murder.
Murder? I said nothing of...
She was slain, if a god truly can be. Betrayed by those who destroyed this temple. Yet the Vira Belasan remains. As do we. That is something.
Are you leaving the temple?
Our duty ends. Why remain?
The Imperium went to great lengths to expunge Elven history. You might be the last to know the truth.
Would the elves of your lands listen to the truth?
They might. Would it hurt to try?
It very well may, Shemlin. Yes. It may be that only Uthenera awaits us. The blissful sleep of eternity, never to awaken, if fate is kind.
Thank you for this gift, Abelas.
Do not thank me yet, Shemlin.
You'll note the intact Illuvian. I was correct on that count, at least.
Is it still a threat? Can Corypheus use it to travel the Fade?
You recall when I took you through my Illuvian, I said each required a key? The well is the key. Take its power, and Mythal's last Illuvian will be no more use to Corypheus than glass. I did not expect the well to feel so... hungry.
Let's not be reckless. I don't want anyone hurt.
I am willing to pay the price the well demands. I am also the best suited to use its knowledge in your service. Of those present, I alone have the training to make use of this. Let me drink, Inquisitor.
You alone? You're not the only mage here.
I have studied the oldest lore. I have delved into mysteries of which you could only dream. Can you honestly tell me there is anyone better suited?
I would be.
You lead the Inquisition. This is not a risk you can take. I have the best chance of making use of the well for everyone. Let me drink.
You're not concerned about the price? Bound forever to the will of Mythal?
Bound to the will of a dead god? It seems an empty warning. Perhaps a compulsion yet remains. Who can say otherwise? I do not fear it, even so.
Are you sure you want this, Morrigan? We don't know what will happen.
We do not, and yet it must be done. I am ready.
Thoughts?
It all seems ghoulish. Let Morrigan use it, if she wants it so much.
You're asking me? This is a lot of... weird... I barely understand how any of this works.
Any chance this well could help us against Corypheus? I say you take it.
Enough deliberation. Give me your decision.
Looking at it, listening to it. That's not just knowledge from the ancient elven priests. It's their will.
How would you know such a thing?
That's what Abelas was telling us. The collective will of the priests puts anyone who drinks under a compulsion, a gas. Can't you feel it?
That would match the legends, but it does not tell us what the gas entails. I would still use the well, but you are right. We must be cautious.
If anyone is to use the well, it will be me.
So you will take what little knowledge you can understand and let the rest go to waste?
The Inquisition needs you. Corypheus still endangers us all.
Perhaps it is better this way. Do as you will with the Well of Sorrows, Inquisitor. But be careful.
Why am I here? Corypheus, a Magister wishes to rip the veil open. I must learn how to stop him. If you can help me vanquish Corypheus, take whatever price you wish.
Breathing. That's good. Let's keep that up.
Not dead. Well, that's a relief. So, good? Bad? I'm dying to know.
Through the mirror!
It is done.